You know what? Oil to an engine is a lot like capital to a business, and today we're talking about funding your business. What's up, FlowChat fam? Hey, Chris here, CEO and co-founder of FlowChat. Capital is huge and very important, as all of us fellow business owners know. And today, this blew me away. I got to talk to today's guest. It was a few weeks ago. I was like, I've been in business, employing myself and others for over 10 years now. How do I not know these things? There's probably other business owners that do not properly understand business credit and other lines of credit and funding that is available to them. It's almost like creating money, getting access to capital out of thin air. And your personal credit is very different than your business credit. And I wanted to share this information with you because I know I'm probably not the only one. So you need to meet Sanoe Burgess. How's it going, Sanoe?
Going good, Chris. Thanks for having me. I love your energy.
Thanks for jumping on with us today. I know everyone's going to be glued to their screens listening and watching this because they're going to be blown away by business credit, how to establish that credit score, all the different little acronyms that come with this. And then one piece that I definitely want to make sure that we hit today, I forget the usage, because in personal credit usage, you always want to use just like a smaller percentage to manage your credit score, but business and personal credit are completely separate, and you were sharing all this gold. And so let's start with this. Before we hit those things, how did you get into business credit?
Sure, yeah. So our company, Alliance Commercial Finance, was started by our CFO and my father back in 2013. He, like many business owners, was in search for capital to start up his next venture, which he wanted to start up a property management business. And so he, like many business owners, went out to talk to, your community bank. And if you don't get to work with the bank, then maybe you'll have a family member or something to help you out. But other than that, you're kind of out of luck. And just so happened to be introduced to a gentleman from New York who opened his eyes to this whole world of non-traditional and alternative forms of lending and financing, and was absolutely blown away. Couldn't believe that, again, a lifelong businessman wasn't familiar with these types of financing. And so through learning about these types of financing, decided to, learn more, get trained in it, and start up this company as a means to then fund and start up his property management business, which he later did in 2015. Never really took it on full time until 2020, when there became a very apparent need for access to capital within our communities. And so myself, also being a lifelong entrepreneur, we decided to join forces and work together to revamp the company in 2020, and have been working together since. So I get to be the business development officer for our company. So doing things like this, networking with awesome people like you, Chris, just getting the word out there that alternative forms of financing exist. You don't need to sell your car, home, firstborn child in order to get some financing to start up your business. So good fun what we do, and looking forward to sharing more.
It'd be insanely ironic if someone listening, watching this right now was actually on their way driving to the semen or blood bank to donate to keep their business alive. There's good news. You don't have to go that route if you don't want. There's other options. And Sanoe, everyone listening, there's we're going to be covering in just a bit here is how to establish business credit, what it is, what amounts you can actually get access to, and then you can actually continue to this is interest free credit for a period of time that you can get access to. This is a huge deal for a lot of businesses and how it's used. So number one, if you have 800 or 800 plus in personal credit, that equals a great score. What is a great business credit score?
An excellent business credit score is above or around 80. So business credit, unlike personal credit, is from a 0 to 100 scale. Yep. And the goal of our program is typically to get our client around 80. The reason being is fairly difficult to get much higher than an 80 credit score, PAYDET or Experian score, your IntelliScore with Experian. And so our goal is to get around 80. People who've been in the industry and trying to grow their credit and are very familiar with business credit for years don't typically get much higher than 80. And what we've noticed is if you get an 80, your amount of funding and qualifications and rates that you qualify CFO is still around the same as if you were to get like up to a 85 or 90. So an 80 to 100 is an excellent credit score when it comes to your Dun & Bradstreet Paydex score and your Experian IntelliScore.
Got it. Okay, so 80 is the goal. It always starts with tracking. What's the KPI? What's the metric? All right, we're aiming for 80.
Right.
If we how do we if we don't know our score, where do we go to establish a score or see where we're even at?
Sure. So ideally, when you're getting your business started, you want to make sure that you're, setting up your entity, whether it's an LLC, corporation, get your EIN, but you're also wanting to set up what we call a DUNS number. So with Dun & Bradstreet, probably the longest standing business credit reporting agency, you go onto their website and establish with them a DUNS number, and your DUNS number will then be linked to your business credit score. So through Dun & Bradstreet, you get a Paydex ranking. So similar to your FICO score with personal credit, with Dun & Bradstreet, you get a Paydex score. Same thing with Experian. Your Experian business credit score is referred to as your IntelliScore.
And when you're saying IntelliScore, what's IntelliScore?
IntelliScore is also similar to the Paydex score, so just from a different credit reporting agency.
Okay. So like in personal finance, there's bureaus. There's the 3 bureaus, credit reporting bureaus. So in business, I'm already forgetting the names. Intellis, what?
Yeah. So you have just like how for personal credit you have Experian,
Equifax,
a couple others.
Yeah,
Equifax. Right. So Experian and Equifax also have business credit reporting sectors. So that tied to your EIN, they'll report to show how your EIN performs in purchasing and paying off those bills.
Okay.
And also Dun & Bradstreet, which is not one who is seen in the personal credit sector, but probably the biggest name in the business credit sector.
Okay, and just so everyone watching this can get value right away, I believe this, did I go to the right site here, Sanoe? Actually, you might not be able to see it. It's dnb.com for Dun & Bradstreet.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, sounds about right. Okay, perfect. So everyone listening, watching, you can go to dnb.com for Dun & Bradstreet. It's one resource for you per what we're discussing. So Dun & Bradstreet one of the most credible business credit reporting bureaus. There was one other one you mentioned though?
The Experian is probably the second place most commonly referred to when banks are assessing business credit scores. And then Equifax also has one, but it's not very commonly referred to in like the background and underwriting process.
Okay. And Experian is both business and personal, where DNB, Dun & Bradstreet is just business only. Okay, cool. All right, we're making progress here. Hopefully we're learning all together. Go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I would like to say about Dun & Bradstreet, I actually was just speaking to a potential client yesterday evening. And he had mentioned to me that when you sign up with Dun & Bradstreet, they'll often try to kind of coerce you into purchasing other types of features and items from them. I would like to just let everyone who's watching know that that is not required. You do not need to purchase anything from Dun & Bradstreet. Your DUNS number should be free, and you do not need to purchase anything from them to increase the legitimacy of your business. Just get your DUNS number and get out.
Got it. That's really, really helpful. And that said, if you guys know that you're looking for more capital for your business, interest-free credit, Sanoe is a great resource to reach out to, and like even just set up a call and say, hey, this is what I need. Here's what I'm thinking. I didn't know, what's available to me. That kind of stuff. Sanoe is a great resource to walk you through that process. That being said, Sanoe, we got a couple more things to cover. I really want to get into the interest-free credit and what the time frames are for that for people, because I mean, come on, if you can get temporarily free money and generate a return on that, which you have a year or more, which is insanely reasonable. And if you don't know how to solve that problem, then maybe you need to start reaching out to me, because we can help you with the growth and revenue problem. But all this being said, where's the best place to reach you for those that already know that they want to learn more with you?
Sure. So our website, we have a landing page that you can sign up for a free initial consultation. You could also reach me at my email, Sanoe at alliancecommercialfinance.com, or my business phone number, which is 808-468-1581.
I love it. That's as direct as it gets. AllianceCommercialFinance.com, and go ahead and rewind to catch her phone number and email there. Sanoe at AllianceCommercial.com. I believe I said that properly. Did I pass the test? Cool.
Alliance Commercial Finance, yeah,
Yeah.
.com.
And yeah, so and here's the site that she has available. So this is a fantastic resource if you guys are in need of capital, looking for capital. Okay, great. So this all being said, hey man, another 10 grand, 20 grand, sometimes even $100,000+ of interest-free business credit that is set up. It can be set up with personal, it can be set up with business. Can you lead us into the light here? Where do we start with getting access to interest-free business credit?
Sure. So when it comes to getting interest-free business credit, we do want to make sure that we are getting you qualified for that interest-free business credit. So we have a program that is very unique, not very common out there in the commercial finance field, and even within the alternative commercial finance field. We have access to this proprietary software that lets us know, based upon our client's current credit profile, what banks they're qualified to work with, and what types of rates they can expect to pay. Initially, if you're coming in with the average medium credit score, you might not qualify for those 0% interest rates right off the bat. But as we work with you to grow and build your personal credit and your business credit to make you more qualified, we will then eventually be able to get you access to those 0% introductory interest rates. There's lots of nuances and strategies that goes into finessing, your personal and business credit and getting you access to the best low-cost business finance. And so our company and our partners that we work with have years of experience in this industry. They, again, have access to this billion-dollar proprietary software. So we've been able to not only help business owners that typically have a difficult time getting access to funding elsewhere, but we also are able to set them up for the long run to make them that much more eligible to getting access to unsecured business lines of credit, but also much more qualified for things like SBA loans down the road.
So let me share a couple things that I heard you saying, and this is important for all business owners listening to this. There's the reason we all don't know about this, and then if some of us have learned about it, we haven't taken action. There's a little bit of an art and science to this whole thing. If you start getting into the weeds of like what bureaus and how they see you and what the requirements are, and beep bop boop, fill out this form and then do this. Well, it depends, because if it's over here, you're like, I'm gonna just try to go sell something and make money. It's a little frustrating. So having a resource like Sanoe, it's worth it. It's worth it. She geeks out over this stuff, and the Alliance Commercial Finance. This is what they do, and this is why they exist, is so that they can say, hey, what do you need? Got it. Here's a couple of criteria. Okay, great. I'm going to go put it into the process, into the machine, and figure out all the details of, hey, here's the optimal best outcome that you're actually looking for. And it's not, I know we're talking about interest-free credit, but you started to mention SBA loans and other types of funding. It's knowing what is available to you. And sometimes, there's tools, and there's money, and there's capital, there's networks that make a huge shift in the journey of a business. It might be the difference between closing the doors and not. It might be the difference of hitting, $5+ million in revenue for the year, because you're able to get access to, hire more talent, pay more in marketing, and speed up and scale more efficiently. Whatever the things that the business really needs, this becomes a really possible viable option that helps accomplish that. So this being said, Sanoe, okay, so we know that what the score is. We're aiming for 80. We know where to go to establish where we're currently at, and hopefully, be at 80, or at least a path to get there. And then now there's different types of credit and funding that we've been talking about. Let's fast forward, though. let's say that we establish all those things. We've got a good score. We've set up our line of credit. Maybe we found certain credit cards that have typically it seems like there's like 12 to 22 months or 20 months of interest-free credit. Let's talk about usage, like utilization, and then let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about how to manage that potentially expensive debt. So can we use say we get approved for 100,000, can we use 20% of it? Can we use 80% of it, 100% of it? And how does that affect our credit?
Sure. So it depends which side you're discussing. So when it comes to personal credit, there's a lot of different factors that we know can influence your personal credit score. Things such as what you mentioned, your utilization, your payment history, your diversity of different types of credit. And so you want to make sure on the personal credit side, we have a saying that 30% is good, 20% is better, 10% is best for utilization. So if
Personal.
you have about, yes, personal. If you have, let's say for number's sake, you have about $10,000 in available personal credit, you want to be keeping your monthly statements around or below, $1,000. That's around that 10% because that way your FICO score is, looking pretty good. But if you are a business owner and you only have $10,000 available personal credit, that's probably not a good place to be. We typically recommend that business owners have anywhere between $50 to even $100,000 in available personal credit. And that doesn't mean that you're necessarily utilizing all of that every month on the personal credit side for your business. But just if unexpected things do come up and if you do need to utilize a good amount of that, if you have $100,000 in available personal credit that your banks have allotted to you and you suddenly need to utilize about 30,000 of that, your utilization ratio is still at about 30%. So that's still at a pretty good place. You don't want to be at a place where your utilization is up and around 80, 90%. That'll severely bring down your FICO score and that'll make you severely less eligible for financing. Banks and lenders want to lend to those who don't need it. And so you want to prepare ahead of time, get access to additional financing before you even think you need it, so that when unexpected things come up, you're prepared, you're ready to go. You have that access to capital. On the business credit side, it's a little different. No matter how much business lines of credit you have or vendor trade lines, the number one thing is just paying your bills on time. What matters for those credit reporting agencies is making sure that you purchased a certain amount. So you mentioned all those weird nuances. Vendors are required to pay Dun & Bradstreet or Experian or Equifax when they report your credit performance, your buying performance. And so they typically require you, let's say if you're working with Uline, you're required to purchase something like $60 worth of goods in order for them to report to that credit reporting agency. If you purchase less than that, they don't have any incentive to report your, payment performance to Dun & Bradstreet or Experian. And so you want to make sure that you're purchasing the right amount, and then you want to make sure that you're paying off that bill within that net 30 or net 60 term. If you can pay it off earlier, that's great. And so the main focus for business credit is paying it off on time. The essence of utilization is not really a factor when it comes to business credit.
Got it. So personal side, 30, 20, 10%, good, better, best. And then on the business side, hey, we're 80%, 90% utilization, doesn't affect credit as much. So let's say we're on a 12-month interest-free term. We're 10 months into that term, and we got $100,000 in a line of interest-free business credit, and we've used $80,000. In 2 more months, we're going to start, and say we've been making monthly payments, right? So we still have like a heavy balance. That capital is no longer going to be interest free. It's going to be 16%, 18, 20, 24% interest. And look, if you're earning 40, 50, 60% with that capital, look, there's a delta, there's a difference, so it's still profitable, but that's still expensive money. What are the options available to us? Like, can we just reapply for more business credit that's interest free and roll it over? I've been told that's a possibility. Is that true?
Yeah, when it comes to getting access to financing and that amount of specificity and detail, it really depends on the individual. And so our goal again is to get you to that place where it's easy for us to kind of, utilize these tricks and strategies, build relationships with certain banks so that that is possible, potentially just roll you over to another place. So yes, it is what you're saying is possible. But it's not always 100% guarantee for everyone. We want to get people's your business credit is awesome. It's becoming much more and more important in this day and age for business finance, but personal credit is still king. And so you want to make sure that your personal credit is in a good place in order for you to then qualify for business credit.
100%. So as it was described, so number one, you're saying, hey, it is possible. There are criteria in order to make that possible, which makes, increases the value of you as a resource to know what all those things are, and so you can, plan to execute on that. And if you have high utilization in the business, but that doesn't affect personal credit. So if you do maintain quality, solid, high personal credit, you'll then be able to reapply 12 months, 18 months down the road, 6 months down the road, and see what additional business credit is available to you and roll that over. So I thought
potentially, yeah.
That blew my mind. I was like, hold on a second. So we can apply for all this interest-free credit and capital, and as long as we have a solid plan in place, per your recommendations, we can just apply for more. It's like you're just like creating interest-free money out of like nowhere, and then you're rolling it over, not earning the interest. You're like, while you're earning on it and earning points from the spend. I was like, okay, few things are starting to add up for me here. So it caught my interest. Everyone listening, watching, hopefully this is whetting the appetite or catching some interest for you. And Sanoe is a great resource to reach out. Are there parts that we're missing or additional things that you'd like to add for today, Sanoe?
Yeah, maybe just touch upon that the unsecured business line of credit program is definitely our niche, definitely our area that is not super commonly found in the rest of the industry. And so we've been kind of perfecting it and being able to help out. It's been super useful for many of our clients, both business owners and real estate investors. That being said, it's also been useful in helping our clients get qualified for other types of financing. So beyond the unsecured business line of credit program, at Alliance Commercial Finance, we also offer our clients like asset-based lending, equipment finance, even SBA, commercial real estate loans, and everything in between. So we're really a one-stop shop. And maybe I can just kind of highlight one success story that we've recently had in which a client came to us asking for, in need of an equipment loan. And at the time, he was not qualified for that equipment loan. Instead, we got him enrolled into this unsecured business line of credit program, which again is not just about getting you access to financing, but increasing your qualifications through strengthening your personal and business credit. After a few months of him participating in this program, we were then able to go back to that equipment loan and get him some funding for that equipment loan. And so it's pretty useful to have access to a business finance consultants and loan officers such as ourselves at Alliance Commercial Finance. Just like how when you're buying a house for the first time, you're going to get a real estate agent, you're going to get a mortgage broker. And so, you wouldn't go into it alone without having the right tools and support system around you. Same thing with business finance, having a loan officer such as us at Alliance Commercial Finance, can be of huge help in making sure that you're taking the right steps and going in the right direction for your business.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sanoe, for sharing all that and spending some time with our audience here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Chris. This was a lot of fun.
FlowChat fam, hey, we'll see you here next week for another Spotlight series. We're bringing real entrepreneurs that are solving real problems. Look, being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And the Spotlight is a place to come where we can rally together and figure out how to spread our impact and message with the world while serving our market with excellence. We'll see you guys next week.